I'll put it this way, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Nothing about Kevin Stefanski's actions suggests he truly wants Shedeur Sanders to succeed in Cleveland. Don't quote the press conferences, don't bring up the calm, reassuring sound bites. Strip away the words and look at the behavior. The actions are the only truth that matters, and those actions scream negligence. If I'm Shedeur, or even simply a supporter of him, I wouldn't want him anywhere near the field under these circumstances. Because what we saw on Sunday is what we will keep seeing regardless of who plays quarterback. Deshaun Watson, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Newton, Dan Orlovsky. It doesn't matter. In Cleveland right now, every quarterback is being set up to fail because they're being asked to carry a roster weighed down by a $46 million injured starter and the consequences that contract brings. When that much money is tied into one player who can't contribute, everyone around him suffers. The offensive line suffers. The weapons suffer. The backups, who should be groomed, insulated, and prepared, suffer most of all. And the thing that irritates former quarterbacks, former coaches, and any rational analyst the most is this: Shedeur doesn't get reps. Look back at 2015, when Cam Newton was league MVP. Even with Cam in his prime, Ron Rivera never forgot the NFL's most obvious truth. You are always one play away from needing your backup. Derek Anderson, Cam's veteran understudy, took between 6 and 12 first-team reps every practice. Enough to stay sharp. Enough to operate the offense if disaster struck. Enough to survive. That's normal. That's smart. That's how good teams function. So how does that reality reconcile with what Cleveland did? On Sunday, when Sanders jogged out of the tunnel at Huntington Bank Stadium to start the second half, the roar was overwhelming. A wall of noise. A fan base starving for hope. The energy shifted instantly, like the city believed this was the moment they'd been waiting years for, the arrival of a savior. But the uncomfortable truth buried beneath all that adrenaline was this: Shedeur Sanders never had a chance. Not this week. Not in this offense. Not in this organization. Because according to Stefanski himself, the first snap Shedeur Sanders ever took with the starters came during the actual game. In live action, against Baltimore, with the season on the line. That is football malpractice. You're telling me Dylan Gabriel couldn't possibly get hurt? Couldn't tweak a knee, jam a shoulder, enter concussion protocol? That nothing could ever go wrong during a season built on physical violence? Not giving your backup a single rep with the starters isn't caution, it's sabotage. And the worst part is this: everyone seemed to recognize it except the young man who had to carry the burden. The Browns enter halftime leading the Ravens 16-10. Gabriel had managed the game well enough until a hit to the head ended his afternoon abruptly. And with no warning, no preparation, and no support system, Shedeur Sanders was thrust into a heavyweight fight. Rookie quarterback, no reps, no rhythm, no chemistry. Against Baltimore, it wasn't adversity, it was an ambush. Former quarterbacks like Luke McCown and Brian Hoyer instantly recognized it. Their social media reactions were almost sympathetic speeches because they know exactly what it feels like to be a backup thrown into chaos with zero real preparation. Fans and analysts often underestimate how violent the shift is from mental reps to live bullets. The speed changes, the windows shrink, the noise becomes deafening. And if you don't have chemistry with your receivers, timing becomes impossible. And timing is everything. Shedeur's very first throw to Jerry Jeudy, his WR1, was the first ball he had thrown Jeudy all year. Think about that. This wasn't poor execution. This wasn't nerves. This was systemic failure. The statistical fallout was brutal. 4 of 16, 47 yards, 13.5 passer rating. The worst debut since Brandon Whedon's nightmare in 2012. Completion percentage on par with Terry Bradshaw's worst day. But unlike Whedon and unlike Bradshaw, Shedeur didn't get weeks of starter reps. He didn't get camp work with top receivers. He didn't get live reps in preseason. He was a blindfolded man swinging in a tornado. And when the storm calmed enough for microphones to reach him, Sanders didn't hide. He didn't deflect. He didn't make excuses. He stared the truth directly in the face. I don't think I played good. I don't think I played good at all. But then came the line that should have appeared in every headline. We just need to get comfortable throwing routes with Jerry. I think I was my first ball to him all year. That is an indictment of the entire offensive operation. How do you draft a quarterback and never let him work with the players he might actually need to throw to in a real game? How do you construct an NFL season with 2 rookie quarterbacks, no veterans, and still fail to develop either? This wasn't development. This wasn't evaluation. This wasn't preparation. It was negligence disguised as strategy. And all of it came crashing down on a 23-year-old forced to survive 30 minutes of football that no quarterback, even experienced ones, could reasonably navigate. Yet the wildest twist wasn't on the field. It was in the stands. When Sanders took the field, the stadium erupted. Fans weren't just cheering, they were worshiping. They chanted his name like he was the second coming. But Shedeur didn't like it. Not because he wasn't grateful, not because he didn't appreciate the love, but because he felt it made his teammate look bad. I'm extremely thankful, but I don't like him not feeling comfortable. It puts everything in a tough spot. It's not helping the team. That's leadership. That's maturity. That's perspective far beyond his age. Ironically, those are the exact traits the Browns claim to value in their quarterbacks. Yet they threw him into an environment where leadership was impossible, growth was improbable, and success was nearly unachievable. And still, despite the chaos, despite the panic, despite the shrinking playbook and collapsing pocket, Shedeur found a way to spark one final drive. A 26-yard strike to Harold Fannin Jr., a 10-yard dart to Jerry Jeudy. For the first time all afternoon, the offense moved with juice. It wasn't enough to win, but it was enough to show something real. It was the glimpse fans came to see, the reason the stadium erupted, the reason hope still exists. Because deep down, everyone knows the truth. Cleveland has never developed quarterbacks. It only discards them. They traded Pickett. They moved on from Flacco. They shipped out any veteran who could stabilize the room. And in doing so, they left 2 rookies alone on an island, forced to grow together with no mentor, no safety net, no plan. If Joe Flacco was still here, he likely carries that 16-10 lead to a victory. If Shedeur had even a handful of starter reps, he might have looked serviceable. If the Browns invested in veteran stability, Gabriel and Sanders wouldn't be drowning together. Instead, the same front office philosophy that has haunted this franchise for decades reappeared on Sunday, playing for tomorrow while sabotaging today. And once again, a young quarterback paid the price. If Dylan Gabriel clears concussion protocol, he will start next week. If he doesn't, Shedeur Sanders will walk into Las Vegas as QB1 with one crucial difference. This time, he'll actually get a full week of practice. This time, he'll get reps with the starters. This time, he'll get preparation before being thrown into the fire. And that will reveal everything. Was Sunday's meltdown truly who Shedeur Sanders is? Or was it the result of being pushed into combat without armor? Based on everything we saw, everything Stefanski admitted, everything Shedeur himself said, the answer is obvious. Shedeur Sanders wasn't the problem. He was the victim of a system that failed him. A system that didn't prepare him. A system that didn't invest in him. A system that didn't believe enough in him to give him the basic tools required to succeed. But now, with the spotlight sharper than ever, the franchise will face a choice. Grow him, support him, develop him, or repeat the cycle that has defined Cleveland's quarterback misery for 30 years. One thing, however, is undeniable. Shedeur Sanders didn't walk into an opportunity. He walked into a trap, and somehow, even in the worst circumstances imaginable, he still showed enough heart, maturity, and flashes of talent to make a city full of battered fans believe again. Whether the Browns rise with him or allow the past to swallow another young quarterback, that choice begins now.